just before the start of the year so that the whole year can be owned. And from a slightly longer term perspective, we have brought the volatility of the pandemic to a fair state. We have registered very strong growth, first bouncing off the pandemic lows with 15%. And then over the last 9 months also, we have still grown at 14.8% and crossed big milestones. We crossed 7 billion and we are now at a run rate of 28 billion. So when you look forward, I don't think there is going to be another period where there will be significantly difference in that stability for it to be. So it goes back to that question that you asked it, why now? And I asked myself, if not now, will there be a better time? And the frank answer was, I couldn't think that there could be anything better. And therefore, it made most logical sense.
So Rajesh, the immediate follow-up question is, when did you inform Chandra? What was his first reaction? And how did it go through? And what is next for Rajesh Gopinathan now? Everybody's curious about that. So I'm blending two questions into one.
Yeah, in terms of, I've been having discussions with Chandra off and on. And of course, when there is an immediate problem, we always focus on that. But in moments of retrospection, I've always been telling him that, at some point I want to do it. And so that's been an ongoing dialogue. The immediate one was, of course, that, as I said, and I think this is the way it happens with everybody probably, that one day you get up and then you say that, okay, we have thought about it and spoken about it long enough. It is better to, pull the trigger, as it were. So that happened just a week or so ago. But it's a conversation that has been ongoing. What next is, first, I have to make sure that the transition happens smoothly. And with Krithi being there, I don't think that is a challenge at all. But I owe it to all our customers, all our colleagues, our employees, and all stakeholders to make sure that I am there for whatever time that Krithi needs. And if nothing, it might be even symbolic. But I definitely have no plans to skimp on that and will be available to Krithi 100%, not just during this transition period, at any point in time in future. After that, I want to take some downtime and spend some time with family, sit back and then think, many ideas are there. But now that the trigger has been pulled, I need to start crystallizing what those are. And it would not have been appropriate for me to go down that path while I was doing something as important as this, and which required more than 100% of my attention all the time. So that's the plan. So probably we will get to catch up and have that cup of coffee that we have been always talking about. And I am looking forward to some downtime.
Thank you. Thank you, Nikunj. Thank you, Rajesh. Rima Tendulkar from CNBC. Rima, you can try to switch on your video and audio and join, please.
Gentlemen, with a heavy heart, and asking these questions, Rajesh, I'm truly going to be missing all our conversations every quarter talking about the numbers. While you tear up, I've got a very heavy heart as well. But Rajesh, my first question is, when you chatted with Chandra about succession planning at TCS, who next? What were the thoughts? What were the conversations like? I know TCS has had a policy of promoting the insiders, but could you help us, talk about what led you all to narrow in on Krithi as the next CEO? What were the qualities? Why did you select Krithi? That's point number one. And secondly, in the next 6 months, what are the steps that you will be making sure to ensure that the transition is going to be extremely smooth? And Krithi, my question is, what would be your top 5 priorities now for the next 5 years? Will reversing TCS's underperformance versus Infosys be a priority? Will you be looking to change the margin guidance? Any big strategic changes? Any big changes in the organization that you would like to effect? Thank you.
Thanks, Rima. It's very nice to hear you say that you're going to be missing it. We used to be dreading your 5 pages of notes, and it was easier to navigate the board meeting than the day after. But jokes aside, it's always been a pleasure. As I said, it's something that kept on egging us on. Your question was that how did we narrow on to Krithi, right? See, in TCS, we have a very transparent and very cohesive culture. We have always said that it's been about collective leadership. So the board has very high visibility to the, a very large part of the leadership team, and there is very close interaction on an ongoing basis. So the top 10, 15 people get in front of the board many times a year. There is a lot of interaction. And plus, of course, Chandra, and as the chairman, knows each and every one of them personally, professionally for decades. So our approach to this is very unique to who TCS is, and we have not tried to go away from that. The choices were, I'm sure, Chandra and the board will weigh in on that maybe at a later point. But
Rajesh on mute, we can't hear him.
No, Rima, that may be a problem on your end. Yes, sir. Rajesh, continue, and then we can take the next question.
All my eloquence fell on deaf ears.
Yeah.
So maybe once we get Rima back on audio, we'll go back to her. Let's try the next one.
Great. We have Swati Khandelwal from Z Business. Swati, you can take your questions and switch on your video.
My gentlemen, and for us, it's a mixed day, as you said. We have Rajesh going and we have Kirti coming in. So welcome, Kirti.
Thank you.
And good luck, Rajesh. But very quickly, Rajesh, the number of years that you said you spent at TCS, and especially in the last 5 years, from where you've got the company, and you've talked about the road ahead. But one moment or when you look back, what is the one big achievement that you think you are taking with you and you're very proud of? If you can tell us that. And of course, people have already asked you what next for you, which is still under wraps, so we will have to wait for it. But your biggest achievement, biggest takeaway as you will move on from here. And I'll ask Kirti once I have your answer.
Swati, actually, I was smiling as I was listening to you. I never wrote my resume after campus. And on campus, batchmates will know that we used to have a repository. One instance of leadership skills that you showed, one great learning that you had, one failure that you had. I have had no practice in doing that for the last 28 years. Haven't thought about it. Let me say that TCS has been integral to who I am. The group has been integral to who I am. I had never any second thoughts throughout my entire period, and looking back also, I would not have done anything differently. And as I said, irrespective of what I do, where I am, throughout my life, TCS will be a very integral part of who I am. And I do hope that in my own way, I've contributed to TCS, so that I will also be an integral part of TCS, irrespective of all the great heights that TCS will go to and will continue to soar. And so that is something is my biggest pride and biggest happiness, that we have been together, we have built something of lasting value that we believe in. We have strongly stood together. We have not followed the herd. We are leaders. And most importantly, we are friends and we have worked together to do something that we are all proud of. So that's my greatest takeaway from TCS.
Okay, sure. Kirti, quickly to know, as you take on the baton, what is it that you will be focusing on? What are your top priorities, if I were to ask you? And how are you looking to beat the challenges that the IT sector is now, getting to see, and it seems that there will be a challenging road ahead.
Swati, first of all, like Rajesh was trying to explain on the process on which I was chosen, I want to at this time thank the board and Chandra, our chairman Chandra as well, for giving me this opportunity. From coming to this, what is going to be my strategy? Like Rajesh explained that he didn't have a rebuild, do his CV again. Neither did I. Right, all of us joined this organization so many years ago, and we have continued. We have enjoyed every moment. For me, it's about almost 35 years. We have enjoyed every moment in this organization, and so it's a continuum. It's not that as every CEO changes, we come up with a new strategy or new set of priorities. As I mentioned before, we have a core set of beliefs and values. Okay, focusing on employees, focusing on our customers is the most important engine that drives our growth. And So we always try to be close to our customers. And as the market situation changes, we recalibrate what we want to do, where we want to focus on. And I'm sure along with Rajesh in the next 6 months, we'll rework on what we have to do. But again, so you mentioned about this macroeconomic situation. Our belief is every time there is a change in the market, it actually gives new opportunities. And just because we have a macroeconomic situation doesn't mean the customers are done with all the digital transformation and they have to stop doing any transformation. If at all, there is actually more need to continue. And maybe for a quarter or two, this disturbance will remain. But growth has to come back. Our customers have to transform and leverage all the digital technologies available with them. So we'll continue to focus on transforming our customers, bringing technology to the center of their business. So in my short answer, we will not make any change. We'll continue to focus on core principles and fine tune as we go along.
Thank you so much, Krithi and Rajesh. We'll go to Harshada Sawant from CNBC Awaaz. Harshada, you can unmute and switch on your video. Hi, Harshada, can you hear us? Okay, I think Harshada is in queue. We'll take the next one then. Chandra Srikanth from Moneycontrol. Hi, Chandra, you can unmute and switch on your video.
Hi, Rajesh. Hi, Krithi. Someone pointed out yesterday that this is perhaps the first time that.
Okay, I think we have Chandra on a bad network. Okay, so we're going to go to
She's back, I think.
Chandra. Hi, are you back?
Hi. Yes, I'm back. Can you hear
Continue.
me, Rajesh and Krithi?
Yes, please
Yes,
continue.
Yeah, Rajesh, someone pointed out yesterday that this is perhaps the first time you're tendering a resignation in your career. So, that must be a very emotional moment. And people I've been speaking to, have been talking about how, as a personality, you're a brilliant strategic thinker, but perhaps doing earnings quarter after quarter, that perhaps wasn't so challenging for you. And maybe the travel also wasn't something you were fond of. I'm just trying to understand what was the final straw for you, the final straw that made you realize that this is not something you want to do. And will we see you joining a private equity fund? Will we see you starting up? Give us a sense of that. Krithi, what are you looking forward to the most? Will you be moving to Mumbai from Chennai and take us through your own plans?
Chandra, good to see you. First, let me tell you that there is nothing more challenging than doing the quarter on quarter and making sure that performance keeps up with it. Whoever thinks that that's not challenging has not probably sat here long enough. So I'm not, I'm not missing that and saying that I want to do something. But definitely, when you look back, I think I spoke to you last time that it's been 10 years of doing that on a relentless basis. And I've enjoyed every minute of doing it. But then sometimes when you get to those milestones, you start thinking, okay, so what's next? And that was definitely a big trigger point. It looks small. It's just another number. I mean, why not 39 or why not 41? But it's one of those occasions when you sit back and say that 10 years have passed by and what do you want to do? And the answer is that there is nothing specific that I had in mind. And as I said, I have never allowed myself to think about something else while I'm sitting here and doing it. I don't think that would be appropriate. And every waking minute, I've only thought about TCS. And that's the way it has been. So it is appropriate that when you start, your mind starts wandering. It is best that you say, okay, this is the best time to hand it over. And then do what it takes to make sure that it is smooth. And you have all the time in the world to think about whatever else that you want to do. So that's where it is. And I'll sit back, I'll think about everything. Your ideas are welcome, others are welcome. But most importantly, is to sit back and reconsider. And then I'll make up my mind.
Krithi, you want to take that second answer?
Sure. See, as I already mentioned, we have a great platform to work on. So our immediate priority is to continue doing that. And most importantly for me, like there are certain parts of business I know quite well. I'll work with Rajesh to understand what's happening in the rest of TCS. That would be my immediate priority, and what are the customer needs and what we should be serving and taking care of. That's the way I look at it, and I'm planning to take it one day at a time as we go along, and definitely I'll shift to Bombay.
He promised that when I took over, so that's why I'm smiling.
I think a lot of questions are answered there. Okay, Harshita is still in queue. She's not able to fix some technical issues. So we're going to Tushar Deep Singh from BQ Prime. Hi, Tushar. You can unmute yourself and switch on your video.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's some problem with my video, so I'll be not on video. Congratulations, Mr. Gopinathan, on the fantastic tenure, and best wishes for what lies ahead. But my question to you was, how will the transition now look like in terms of areas of focus, etc.? And secondly, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Ganapati Subramaniam achieves superannuation next year. What are the succession plans there?
So Tushar, let's talk about this transition. This is not rocket science. As I said, both of us have worked together a lot, and our teams are also very stable. So I don't expect this transition to be something very dramatic or anything. But we owe it to, as I said, our customers, we owe it to our colleagues, our employees, and all other stakeholders to do it diligently. And to be there to talk about it. 99% of what we say, if not 100%, is not something that will come as a surprise to them. But it is important that we do that, and we will invest that time and effort and travel and do whatever it requires to both to thank people, to pay respect to them, and also to make sure that they have a first-hand opportunity to do that connect. So overall, I don't expect it to be anything major, but it is something that has to be done, and we intend to do it diligently. As far as NGS goes, 1 year, 1.5 years is quite a lot of time, and in the appropriateness of time, I'm sure that will also get discussed.
Mr. Krithivasan, congratulations on the new role.
Thank you.
So what are your plans now for the BFSI vertical, now that you're moving on to a bigger role? What will be your focus area? Are you going to expand the business further? What will be the strategy? What will be the strategy in terms of leadership and the business at large, especially in the US in the aftermath of the SVB collapse?
As I said, from a overall BFSI perspective.
Go ahead, BFSI.
Yeah. From a BFSI perspective, we will think to go look at the plans. We will discuss with the team. We'll discuss with Rajesh and Chandra and how we have to handle that. You'll get to hear sooner than later. Okay, but again, the point I want to stress is TCS has always been an organization built on continuous evolutionary approach, and we had great set of leaders coming in from, and we've been blessed with a one team culture where associates are always willing to step in for the sake of organization. So we'll look at what is the best way. There are so many leaders available for us. We will look at what is the best way to reorganize ourselves as required. And again, like Rajesh was mentioning for some other question, we don't expect any dramatic change in terms of how we are going to reorganize. And in terms of priorities and strategies, as I mentioned before, what we would focus on is the core principle, strategy and priority we'll tweak as we go along every year. The core principle is work closely with the customers, ensure look out for what their needs are as proactively as possible, go to them with the solutions, and work with our associates who have been the bedrock of our success, and go meet all of them and ensure how well we can. See, they are a great set of associates we have. In fact, our role is to ensure we remove the hurdles in front of them so that they perform very well. So that's what we'll continue to do. I don't expect, or you should not expect, to see a great strategy change or organizational change coming in future immediately.
Thank you. Reporters request you to go on mute after your questions to ensure the experience is smooth. Next question from Sankalp from Bloomberg. Unfortunately, everyone, as always, has been stuck to the one question limit. We will be back with you for the quarter results. So request everyone to stick to one question so that we can accommodate. Otherwise, we'll have to drop. Sankalp.
Hi Rajesh, hi Krithi. Rajesh, congratulations on your tenure and all the best, and Krithi, all the best. Just one question, which is, this is a time when software services companies are going through a lot of challenges in terms of what the global environment is, and you're leaving. There's a change that's coming up at Tech Mahindra as well. I just wanted to ask you, as an industry leader, what do you see as the next evolution for Indian software sector and the companies from here on? I mean, your companies are not going to be looking like you have so far. There is change that's needed at the companies internally as well as how you approach clients. So could you all, both of you, give me a sense of how you see that shaping up?
Sankalp, as I said to an earlier question, if you look at the volatility or the demand outlook, I don't think we are in a majorly concerning situation. Yeah, there is there is inflationary pressure. There is talk of recession. So maybe the recession will materialize. Maybe it will be more severe than what we thought it was. But that's all part and parcel of the business cycle and part of the business environment that we operate in. So that's business as usual, and we will need to deal with it one step at a time, and make sure that we are resilient enough to do it, and we have demonstrated it time and time again. So there is absolutely no doubt in our minds, and there should be no doubt in anybody else's minds, that this is par for the course, and we will deal with it as appropriate. The other question, I always had this, and now that I'm on my way out, I can even be more frank. I think the media is too skeptical about the Indian IT industry. First of all, Indian IT industry is a very diverse set of players. Each of them have their own strategies, own approaches, own capabilities and skills. And most importantly, at every step, they have proven to be resilient, robust, they have continuously evolved, and they have looked very different. And at all points in time, the question has been same. So obviously there is some opportunity here for some editorial oversight to say that, okay, why are we going back and asking the same question again and again? There has to be some zooming out of it. From a larger strategy perspective, I think this is a ongoing evolution. Specifically from a TCS perspective, I think our continuing focus on cost and optimization and our enhanced focus on growth and transformation will define the larger portfolio of services that we do. From an industry's perspective, we have consistently built new verticals, and that will continue to play out. Our geographical focus is also very systematic and very diligent. We have built out very nicely into newer markets. We have been right at the forefront of opening new markets and investing well ahead of time to secure those spaces for growth. And from an innovation perspective also, we are leaders in continuous investment and being able to actually create that innovation space which leads our future growth strategies. So all of the basic pillars and the basic organizational approach infrastructure required for constantly renewing our strategies in place. And we will continue on this constant evolutionary journey. And I'm very confident that we are very well poised to maintain that kind of a momentum and to constantly change who we are.
Thank you. Next question from Ramita Mazumdar from Economic Times.
Hi, gentlemen. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank
I think, from a very millennial perspective, Rajesh, I'll tell you that it feels refreshing to see someone in your position take a step back and prioritize your life. This, congratulations to that. I just want to understand, Rajesh, when you look at your next step, beyond TCS, do you see yourself taking a mentor, advisor kind of a role, or do you see yourself taking more of an entrepreneur kind of a role? Which one will it be? And a query for Kriti as well. I mean, what was your reaction when you were communicated the decision? I know you've been on this job forever, so it's not, doing the job is not as scary as knowing that the change of decision has actually happened. So yeah.
Ramita, first of all, to your opening comment, I can't tell you how happy and light I feel. It is like it's amazing. Till a week back, it was like all-consuming, and in the last 48 hours, it's just completely liberating. I have no clue what I'm going to do, but I'm just in a very different space, and very very happy, and looking forward to that. To actually doing that reset. Coming to the options that you laid out, first of all, as I said, I have no clue, but it will be very interesting. Long back, long before I owned a car, I used to walk on the roads and with an attitude that car kharida, road thodi na kharidi hai, so I can walk away anywhere. When you start driving a car, you have a different perspective about pedestrians. Similarly, when it comes to advisors, when I was in an operating role, I used to hate advisors of all forms completely, straight out. So it'll be interesting. Maybe now I might be, the one great advisor that the world is waiting for. And similarly on all the others. So, I'll have to develop a different perspective and we'll see what happens.
Thank you. Next question from Shilpa Fadnis from Times of India. Shilpa, you can unmute and switch on your video.
So many congratulations on a successful run and wishing you the very best in your future endeavors. It's unprecedented in the history of TCS for a CEO to prematurely exit after a successful tenure and navigating the most challenging times. Was it less about the macroeconomic environment, more about some dissonance in the senior management and with the board that accelerated your decision making to quit the firm? Second question is, are you looking at some sort of an advisory role in the Tata Group companies? Would you explore that option? And third, if Mr. Krithivasan is moving on to a larger role, what are some of the internal changes to BFSI? Who's the next in line for the BFSI leadership?
Shilpa, if you have to leave, it's always better to leave when it is good rather than when everybody is rooting to get you out. So that's my perspective, that there's no better time to leave than when you are actually in a good place. As far as advisory roles goes, as I just mentioned, my respect for advisors is exponentially growing. So I'll see whether something comes out of that. But as of now, no plans.
Yeah, as far as the BFSI goes, Shilpa, as you know, it's as I mentioned before, TCS has a huge and very deep set of talent pool available within BFSI, outside of BFSI, and people who have done BFSI before doing something else different. So, and also because it's been a most tenured and the largest business vertical, many folks in TCS, even who are not in BFSI today, have deep knowledge in the BFSI, experience in BFSI. So it gives us a huge set of options. So it's early days, but rest assured that we will ensure that there is a very smooth transition and the right person, right structure. We will work on this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Shivani was next, but Shivani is in very bad network. Her first question has been answered. She has a lighter question for you, Kriti. What is the bigger challenge, CEO of TCS or moving to Mumbai? Shivani Shinde from DS's question.
I would say moving to Mumbai.
Okay, thank you.
Leaving Chennai is a tough decision. People that are in the call should know.
Yes, I think there are a lot of our journalists who would agree. Okay, next question from Varun Sood from Mint.
Hi, gentlemen.
Yes, go ahead, Varun.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, Varun, go ahead.
Thank you. Rajesh, the first question I wanted to ask you was that we are now in March. FY23 growth would be a lot slower than FY22. If I have to ask you, like over the last 3 months, what's your sense, what you get from speaking with clients, that whether FY24 growth would be a lot less than FY23? I understand you don't get guidance, But if you can just give this qualitative statements, especially at this juncture, that would be really helpful. And second question I wanted to again ask you, and perhaps Krithi can also weigh in. Krithi at 59 is one of the oldest CEOs across the IT services companies. Uh, what was the thought process of the board when they really thought of the next, or rather when they thought of a successor to you? And does Krithi have some kind of visibility that whether it will be a 3-year or a 5-year term where he has when he takes over on 15th of September? Thank you.
Thanks, Varun. On your first question, our 9-month growth for FY23 has come in at 14.8% on CC terms. So that's very, and as far as forward visibility into FY24 goes, now I'm in a unique situation to say that I have absolutely no clue, and it's none of my business to comment on it. So I will leave that to the able hands of Krithi. And also in a different forum, when we talk about the earnings and year end, I think that will be an appropriate place for us to look into it. But right now, as I told Ramita, I'm in a happy state. And one of the happiness is that I won't have to answer those questions very soon. Coming to Krithi, in TCS, the retirement age for executive directors is 65 years. So he easily has 6 years, and the appointments are always for 5-year terms. So definitely that is there. And the choice of Krithi was also driven by coming in with, so if you look at the history, when I took over, your questions were, is this guy too young? Now when Krithi is taking over, your question is this guy too old? Those kind of questions will keep on coming. The board and the NRC looked at a complete variety of candidates and the current situations and what is required and what they felt is the best fit. And the unanimous choice was that Krithi is the best fit and the best person for the job at this point of time. So that's where it is. And I'm sure, 5-6 years from now, you will be asking different set of questions to him and to whoever else is there.
Thank you. And our final question from Harshada Sawant, who should be back now. Hi, Harshada. You can unmute yourself if you can.
Hi, sorry about the technical goof up earlier. Rajesh, it's been quite a surprise actually to hear this. I'm sure it's still sinking in for you. It's definitely sinking in for us. And I'll ask you this in Hindi. ये विचार स्टेप डाउन करने का कब से आपके दिमाग में चल रहा था? क्योंकि आपको मार्च 2022 यानी कि पिछले साल ही 5 साल का एक्सटेंशन मिला, तो ये कब से दिमाग में आया और इसे आप इस समय अंजाम दे रहे हैं? और कृति, मैं उम्मीद कर रही हूँ कि आपसे खूब चर्चा होगी और आप हिंदी भी अच्छी से बोल पाते हैं और इतने शाय नहीं रहेंगे जितना शायद राजेश थे। ये बताइएगा, आपके लिए जब आपको पद दिया जा रहा है, आपका सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या होगा टू टेक द बिजनेस फॉरवर्ड?
अर्षदा, ऐसा है कि विचार तो कई आगे ऊपर नीचे चलते रहते हैं, पर उसके बारे में ज्यादा गौर नहीं किया था और ज्यादा सोचा भी नहीं था। पिछले 1-2 महीनों में आपसे पिछली बार भी मेरी बात हुई थी कि 10 साल हो गए और आगे भी चलने का है, काफी टाइम बचा हुआ है, तो करना क्या, यही करना है कि और कुछ करना है? बट एक बात पे मैं बहुत ही दृढ़ निश्चय था कि जिस दिन मन ऊब जाए उसी दिन निकल जाने का है। 1 मिनट भी इस काम में नहीं रहना अगर पूरी तरह से दिल से नहीं करने का। तो the trigger point was that, right? The moment that seed comes into your heart, you got to step out. I think I owe it to TCS, all of us owe it to TCS, that this seat was given in trust. And I respect the seat. And it is something that I don't take lightly. And this is not the seat to sit and think about my future plans. This is the seat to sit about and think about TCS's future. And the moment my future starts becoming part of the thinking process, I think it is appropriate that I step away and put somebody else here. And that's where it is. So it has been an absolute pleasure. आपसे हिंदी में बात करने की ज़्यादा मौके तो आपने कही दिए, हमने नहीं लिए, बट देखते हैं आगे कभी करेंगे.
Krithi, you want to answer that?
Yeah, Harshita, I love Hindi so much. I don't want to abuse by talking in Hindi now. Okay, and but coming to the challenge, I don't think there are any insurmountable challenges ahead of us. As I said, a lot of opportunities. So how do we leverage and seize those opportunities is a task in front of us. I don't look at it as if we have insurmountable challenges that we need to address them immediately or to worry about them. Like, the concern or the focus would be on how do we seize those opportunities in front of us and make the organization grow, and it's for our customers, for our associates as well. As I said, these are the two pillars, and whatever we do will be for those two set of stakeholders, and that would be the focus area.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rajesh and Krithi. Thank you to all the journalists that joined in. We know that we couldn't accommodate a few questions, so please do send us your questions offline, and we will definitely try to answer as many as possible. Once again, thank you so much for joining this Friday evening. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.